Good afternoon, Mariners. Dylan Flynn here from the Hurricane Center with this week's Tropical Atlantic Marine Weather Briefing. Today is Sunday, July 2nd, and we'll be discussing conditions through Friday, July 7th. Not much going on in the surface analysis from this morning. There's no fronts, no tropical cyclones. It's mainly dominated by subtropical high pressure here, kind of centered along 30 degrees north. There are a few tropical waves to note, one in the eastern Atlantic, one in the central Atlantic, and a couple in the Caribbean Sea. We don't expect those to develop into tropical cyclones at this time, but they could produce locally gusty winds and heavy rainfall. Good news on the tropical weather outlook, no tropical cyclones are expected during the next 7 days. And we'll start taking a look at marine conditions. This is from this morning. So again, we have this high pressure generally centered along 30 north or so, and that's interacting with lower pressure in the deeper tropics, so around 15 degrees north. And that's where these tropical waves are, the ITCZ and the monsoon trough. So this is a basic pattern where we have light and gentle winds in the subtropics and moderate to fresh easterly trade winds in the deep tropics. And you can see that reflected in the sea heights here with moderate sea heights up to about 8 or 9 feet in the Caribbean and then also in the tropical Atlantic as well, with slight seas in the subtropical Atlantic and very, very slight seas in the Gulf of Mexico. Move ahead to Monday morning. Essentially the exact same setup. We still have this light winds and high pressure in the subtropics and more moderate to fresh easterlies in the tropics. The only difference here is these tropical waves have progressed a few degrees to the west, and you can see the gusty winds are following these waves here. For Tuesday morning, again, no significant change, just the waves continue to propagate to the west. See some seas here approaching the Lesser Antilles up to about 10 feet or so. And by Wednesday morning, we see this wave in the Caribbean, which is becoming more and more robust. We still don't expect it to become a tropical cyclone. The environment is pretty harsh, but as its own on a wave, it will bring some gusty winds through the Caribbean and some enhanced precipitation as well. And then by Thursday, we see that wave increase in strength even more, and now the gradient has increased as well, with stronger high pressure interacting with stronger low pressure. So now we have some strong winds here in the central Caribbean. Otherwise, the rest of the forecast is pretty much unchanged. We can see these waves, the winds have generated some rough seas there in the central Caribbean as well. And then finally for Friday morning, we see that wave is propagated into the southwestern Caribbean with some fresh to strong easterly winds and enhanced precipitation as well as some rough seas. The rest of the forecast, the rest of the area is quite benign. For the summary slide, good news, we don't expect any gales or tropical cyclones throughout the tropical Atlantic, and we don't expect any seas over 12 feet as well. So it should be a good week here in the tropical Atlantic. That concludes this week's briefing. We'll have another update for you on Thursday, discussing conditions through the weekend and into the early part of next week. In the meantime, enjoy the favorable conditions out there in the tropical Atlantic. I'm Dylan Flynn, signing off from the Hurricane Center.